Good afternoon, HPBA members. This is Terry Cowan, President of Sunbelt Resales, and I'm excited that you've decided to join us and listen to this webinar called Mentally Prepared to Sell. In previous webinars that we've done through the HPBA, and also when I was at your convention back in March, we really addressed the financial side of selling your business. And of course, the financial side is a very important side when you decide if you're going to sell your business or not. But that aspect is also critical to the emotional side of selling your business. But as you guys know, money is not everything. So today, we thought we'd look at some other factors that are going to play into your decision to sell your business. And there are factors that you can evaluate to see if you really are emotionally ready to let go of your baby. So a quick review of some of the things that we talked about in our previous webinars on the financial side. When it comes to selling your business, you have several options to consider. You can sell it to a family member or a key employee or someone who's been with you for a long time. There's also the liquidation route. Or you can go the third-party sale, which is what, of course, Sunbelt's specialty is. But, of course, the moral of this slide is only you can determine the path that is right for you and which way you want to sell your business. But determining who you will sell your business or how you will sell your business, well, that's very important. But you also have to be emotionally ready to sell. So today we're going to talk about some steps that you can go through on your own to determine your emotional readiness to sell your business. One is the review of your financial situation. We're also going to discuss the role your family and your family's preparation for the process is going to play. We'll talk a little bit about what your plans are post-sale. And we're also going to have you analyze your own ability to surrender control, surrender being a decision maker, surrendering control of, really a family member of your baby. And ultimately, you have to answer the question, why do you want to sell your business? So we're going to explore all those different avenues here as we move through today's presentation. All right, so the first one was the financial viability of a sale. Knowing that you're going to have a sale and that sale is, at least on paper, going to produce a solid financial outcome for you, that's a big obstacle. That clears the financial obstacle. But to clear that hurdle and to make sure that the proceeds of the sale are going to be enough to meet your financial goals and missions, you have to take into consideration the entire financial aspect of what's going to happen at sale. Because obviously there's going to be a sales price, but that price sometimes comes with terms. So maybe it's going to be money over time versus money up front. So you have to consider all of that. You also have to look at what the net proceeds are going to be after you take out expenses in selling your business. If you use a business broker, that's going to cost some money. If you get your attorney involved, that's going to cost money. If you're going to get your CPA or your tax attorney or people like that involved, all those professionals are going to cost money. We've talked about in other sessions that while those people all cost money, they should add value back to your transaction. But you just have to know that, all of that taken into consideration, and then you're still going to have probably the biggest expense, which is going to be your taxes. What is Uncle Sam's piece going to mean? So you have to take into consideration all of those things to come up with what your net proceeds are going to be. And of course, once you come into that number, at least an estimate of that number, then you have to ask yourself the question, does that net proceed meet or exceed what I need for the next phase of my life? And again, it doesn't matter what your next phase is. If you're going to be, buy another business, if you're going to retire, you have to have an idea that the proceeds of the sale of your business are going to go ahead and give you that security that you're looking for the next phase. So again, to do that, I think you have to rely on professionals. You've got to get a valuation done. You got to do some tax accounting, some estimates on what that's going to look like, and do some succession planning to see, do I have enough money from a financial sale to go ahead and consider selling my business at this point in time. We also mentioned the family life. Look, typically, you guys are spending a lot of time in your business. And for many of you, it's a family affair. Your spouse is involved, your kids are involved, relatives are involved, siblings, etc. Selling your business, especially when your family's involved, could really create some emotional voids. You're not going to be with your employees every day. And for some of you, those employees are your family members. You're not going to have a place to get up and go to every day. And you're no longer going to have the title of business owner. And for some people, even though you haven't thought about it, for some people that carries a lot of pride and a lot of prestige. And so, you have to think about all of those things are going to be gone and what that means to you. And is it going to be an emotional void in your life when you don't have that place to go every day, or when no one calls you a business owner, or you don't get to talk to, the 5 to 50 people that are in your business every single day. So, as a business owner myself, and I own actually 2 businesses, I know that owning a business, it becomes really a key focal point in our entire life. And sometimes when you lose that focal point, it can be unsettling. So you have to plan this out. You have to plan the exit out. You have to avoid being directionless and confused and not knowing what to do with your time. So you really need to figure out, what's coming next. If I sell my business today, what am I going to do tomorrow? And if I am able to do that tomorrow, how is that going to make me feel? Is it going to create the needed passions that I want? Is it gonna fill those voids? So again, before you go to sell your business, make sure that you have something new and positive to focus on your time when your business no longer creates some of those things that you're getting from the business today that are non-financial items. And again, it doesn't have to be another business. It can be a hobby, it can be retirement, it can be different things, but you just have to make sure that it's going to fill those voids and help keep you energized and and happy moving forward. And again, the next phase, it varies by person. It can be several things. It can be full-out retirement. It could be another business venture. It could be going back and taking a corporate job again. It could be relocating to a new area. It doesn't matter what the plan is, as long as your personal plan you believe is going to meet your personal goals. That's the whole point of the story. Surrendering control. This one is one I think that again requires a lot of self-observation, objectively looking at yourself. And it's difficult to do, especially if you haven't had to do it in a long time. If you've owned your business for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, doing a self-analysis on yourself and your ability to let go can be difficult. But when you had a business that long, when it is your baby, when when it's been your blood, sweat, tears, and the majority of your focus for so long, it can be very difficult to let the business go. And at the end of the day, many business owners discover that I'm just not ready yet. And that is completely okay. As a matter of fact, I would attest that that's perfectly fine to find that out and not be ready to go yet. It's a big step. And, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about here in an upcoming slide about reasons to sell. But if you're not ready, don't sell. Bottom line, simple as that. And again, typically the more involved you are in the business on a day-to-day basis, it's going to be that much more harder for you to detach from the business and to get away from, the focus and the employees, et cetera. So, those things need to, again, be looked at under a microscope that only you can control, right? No one else can tell you how you feel about these things. Also determine if you're ready to have a boss again, because rarely when you sell your business, especially to a third party, rarely are you going to exit immediately at the close of the deal. You're going to be working, in the business with them as you train them and get them up to speed. And then if your next phase is to go back to corporate America, are you really ready to do that? Going from corporate America that has, structure and rules and all that stuff to a place where you set the structure, you set the rules, and now you're going to go back to corporate America. It's going to be, it's not for everybody. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be a change. So these are discussions that, again, we recommend you have with your family, and of course, most importantly, with yourself as a business owner. Let's talk about employees for a second too, because obviously we mentioned, are you ready to turn over control away from employees, and also are you ready just not to have that interaction with employees? Employees are a big part of our business, obviously, and it's very, very common that business owners form real friendships and really strong bonds with employees, especially the ones that have been there long term with you and have been the reason why you've been so successful for so many years. And again, you have to analyze, how deep really are the attachments you have with your people, because if you have strong feelings toward your team members, that's a sign of great loyalty and great friendships, but it may negatively impact your sales process. There's going to be worry about the future of your staff. Anytime you sell your business, you're going to have that worry. But understand that most of the time, I'm talking predominantly 90+% of the time, buyers are buying your business because of your employees, and they're going to want to keep your team intact. So that part shouldn't matter as much as just your ability to separate your employees and to separate your plans from the personal relationships that you've developed. And that can be very, very difficult to do. I was in a situation before I came to Sunbelt some 20 years ago where the owner of the business that I worked at was a small privately held company. He was really good friends with a lot of people. And I will tell you, the day he announced he sold the business, there was some really bitterness toward him by his quote-unquote friends. So you have to be prepared for that. In my opinion, he did nothing wrong. He had every right to sell his business. But I felt bad for him that day because I thought he was being unfairly crucified by his employees. And you run that risk. If you've got some loyal people who are friends, you're going to have to separate that. You're going to have to separate the personal relationships from your business plans. And if you can't do that, you're probably not ready to sell yet. But if you can say, hey, listen, this is business. It's my business. I have plans in the next phase of my life. I know my employees are going to be okay. Then you're probably okay to move on and consider selling the business. Also remember one thing, guys, if you decide, when you decide to sell, it says if, but we know that everybody at some point in time is going to sell their business. When you decide to do that, confidentiality in the sales process is essential. You don't want to tell your employees anything when you're going through the process of selling your business. What you do want to do, though, is be prepared for the day when you have something to tell them. So when the sale is about to happen or is occurring, you want to have a well thought out and thoughtful note, if you will, to them or speech to them to say, what they meant to you and why they made this possible and what happens afterwards. So it is something that, as you get closer to selling your business, you want to start maybe thinking about how you're going to address your employees. But again, you're going to address them after there's something to tell them. Until you get a buyer, until that buyer makes an offer, until you're going to the closing table, there's nothing to tell your employees. So don't tell them when you're looking to sell your business. What about age? I get asked a lot. I had some people on both sides of the spectrum who I've talked to recently. One called me and said, well, I'm getting up there. I'm 65. To me, I've had people on the other side of the spectrum saying, I'm 80 and I'm still loving being in my business. And, everybody's different, right? The retirement age used to be in the mid-60s, but I think that this thing has really elongated. We're living longer. We're living healthier. And I talked to a guy not too long ago who was 84 and has been in business for 50 years, and he's still loving what he's doing. He's not ready to sell yet. So everybody's different. And if you reach a point in your, even in your late 50s that you think it's time for you to sell your business, again, this is a personal thing. It's not what everybody else thinks or what the general opinion is of what age you should be to retire or to sell your business. Everybody's different, but really 65 is the new 45. We're a much sprier, younger living, than generations previous to us. And let's face it, the benefits to retiring earlier aren't as good as they were before. So, all I'm going to say, guys, is this: if you feel good and you feel good about your business, then you should stay in your business. But do understand, and we found this out here in 2020, it can change overnight. I mean, it really can. We have the 5 Ds, which we're going to talk about, and they're dreaded for business owners. But there's also, outside factors that can harm your business, as we found out with COVID. And sometimes those factors harm your business in a positive way. Don't harm it, but they help it. And others businesses, probably 80% of the businesses in this country were negatively impacted by COVID. So you don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait until you have one or more of the dreaded 5 Ds raise their ugly head and come, and cause your business value to go down, and more importantly, cause your business, your urgency to sell your business to go up. So you want to time it where, yeah, I feel good, I feel the business is good, and I think it's a good time to go because I don't have to go. So when I talk about the 5 Ds, here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about death, divorce, disability, distress, which could be personal and or business, and disagreement. Those 5 Ds, if any of those are persisting when you decide to sell your business, it's probably going to hurt or impact your ability to sell your business, and it's probably going to hurt the price you're going to get paid for your business. So it's really important, again, to plan, to think about what the timeline really looks like, because that's going to help you overcome if any of the 5 Ds hit later. And if you can go to the market when you feel good about your business and you feel good about the proceeds, and none of the 5 Ds are present, you're probably going to maximize the value of your business at that exit. Last thing I wanted to mention to you is about personal satisfaction in your business. Sometimes people sell their business and they have seller's remorse, and sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's emotional as far as I don't get to see my employees anymore. But sometimes it's just, I just didn't do everything I was set out to do in that business. So again, this requires self-analyzation. Examine the business, make a list. What did we accomplish? Are there other goals that we still wanted to reach with this business? And again, if you sell before you hit all those goals, that can lead to regret. And look, the last thing you want when you get that big fat check at the sale of your business is you want to feel that you left something on the table. You don't want to feel that regret. You want to feel satisfied. So owners typically have to make sure that they accomplished what they originally set out to do with the company before they can pass it on and feel good about the sale. And if you don't feel satisfied yet in your business, you're probably not ready to go to market. So, think about that. Again, a lot of what we're talking about today really falls strictly on you as the owner of the business, because this is really a personal choice. And it's the owner and their family looking at the finances, looking at themselves from a very introspective way to say, is now the right time? The other thing that you could look at from a sales perspective is the push-pull analysis. And in this analysis, the push factors to sell your business are what we would more likely see are negatives. They're pushing you out the door, while selling because you're being pulled to sell really is the only time you should consider selling your business. Because if you sell when you're being pushed, not only can that be financially not as rewarding, but it also can be emotionally traumatic. But if you're selling for the right reasons, if you're selling for the polls, usually owners are much more happy with the result of the sale and in a much better place to accept the fact that they sold their business. So what are some examples of the push polls? Well, from a poll standpoint, talking about favorable market conditions, which, by the way, we are still in. The resales market post-COVID here, and I should say post-COVID, we're still in the middle of COVID, obviously, but when COVID hit in February, March of this year, the resale market was at an all-time great. I mean, 2018, 2019 were probably two of the greatest years ever in selling your business. When COVID hit earlier this spring, the market slowed down, and it slowed down for about 10 to 12 weeks. But since then, the market has rebounded very, very strong. So the market conditions are still really good right now if you're considering an exit here in the near future. Another example of good poll is you got a good buyer. You were able to find a buyer, either it's a relative, a manager, or you knew somebody who wanted to buy your business and they're ready to pull the trigger. We talked about the financial security. That's another example of a poll. You know that when you sell the business, if you get the price you want, it's going to fund comfortably your next phase of your life, and you're satisfied with the results. You did what you did with what you wanted to accomplish with your business. You got the most out of it, and you're good to go. Some of the examples on the other side of the push-pull factor, the pushes, is staff didn't show up, or deliveries are always late. You're selling because you're low on money. You're selling just because you're tired of it all. Those are push factors. People sell for them, and businesses may still sell, but typically they don't sell for top dollar when the owners are being pushed. And typically the owners have a higher share of regret and seller's remorse when they sell their businesses on a push versus on a pull. So, money is only a valid reason to sell your business if you have plans for that money. And really, from an emotional standpoint, it's only emotionally smart to sell your business when you know you have plans for the next phase of your life after your business is done. So kind of go through the analysis of the push polls, and I think you're going to be better off pinpointing the best time to sell your business. So the takeaways from today's presentation, again, talk to family. Get them involved in this decision. It's been part of your family forever. They need to be part of the decision whether or not it's going to continue. Conduct a push-pull analysis. Make sure you're selling for the right reasons. But really, you got to, guys, just take the long look in the mirror. Have a really good talk with yourself and make sure that you are ready to no longer be a business owner, that you can see yourself in life without having the business. Set that plan for the next phase of your life. Get an estimation of what the business is going to sell for. Work backwards, take out the taxes and the fees and things like that to see what do I have going to be the net proceeds, and is that proceeds enough for the next phase of my life? And to do that, you might have to talk with some professionals, a CPA, a wealth advisor, etc. But I do think that it is definitely worth doing for this analysis. All right, just 2 minutes on Sunbelt real quick. I think a lot of you guys know us now. We are the largest business broker in the United States. We're here to help you sell your business. We work with selling privately held companies of any size, from $50 million down to $50,000 in sales. We specialize in franchises, but we do a lot of work within your industries, retail, distribution, etc. We've been in business for 42 years. We have over 150 offices in North America to help you. And we can do the following with you guys. If you're looking at selling your business, our traditional brokerage services is our bread and butter. But if you just want to, maybe you have a buyer and you just need help dotting the I's and crossing the T's, then our consulting services are for you. And maybe you just want to find out that valuation. Give us an idea of what we're looking at from a value standpoint. We do have valuation services as well. So we're here to help you navigate the entire process, no matter where you're at in the sales process. We really value our relationship with the HPBA. I'm looking forward to Louisville next June. We will be at the show again. We were at the New Orleans show as well, and we're going to be back to Louisville. We'll be doing another presentation there as well. But if you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to give me a call. The numbers are on the screen here, but real quick, my toll-free number is 888-484-0332. My email is tkelm, Tkelm, at sunbeltnetwork.com. I thank you once again for joining us today. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.